Welcome, guys, to another extra episode of Orinda Talks in the Star Trek series. Today, we will talk about the latest Star Trek Picard episode called Hide and Seek with Tommy of Trek Canon. He's a regular in Orinda Talks. And this is also my first video episode of the podcast. So, in the future, I think I will rather do this a lot more. And welcome, Tommy. Nice to see you again.
Thank you for having me. Nice to see you as well. Here we are.
Yes, we have done a lot lately together.
Yes, we have a lot of good stuff.
A lot of good stuff, yeah. So today we're talking about the latest episode of Picard. So I'm I'm anxious to know what you think about it. What I'm going to do is just recapping the episode and following sequences and etc. And we will see what we can talk about. So the latest entry of the episode was that Rios was bringing the doctor and her son on the La Serena. I was thinking, okay, isn't there anything about the Prime Directive that says don't do that because you are interfering?
One of the many things. But look, let me tell you something. All right, first of all, Rios is a captain. He's not an ensign. He's a captain. You know what I mean? Like Rios, we'll just put it this way. What Rios did was something that has never been done.
No.
The closest thing that has ever come to something like that was the voyage home when Kirk didn't even bring the scientists on board. She jumped on him doing transport. But that's the closest thing that we've had to somebody doing something like that.
But didn't Picard did that also in First Contact? He brought Lily on board.
Look, let me tell you something. He brought Lily on board when Lily was comatose. She was out of it. She was out of commission. As a matter of fact, Beverly Crusher had to wake her up because the Borg was attacking sickbay. They was planning on beaming her back down with a whole wiped out memory.
Now, talking about the Borg, in this episode we saw Juriati, or the Borg Queen, change those people in Borg. It's totally different than we know. And I was really thinking already when I saw Jurati changing into the Borg Queen, I was thinking that looks a lot like Control doing that.
Oh my goodness. Oh, you finna start on the Borg this early in the video? Oh, look, I called those the Special Forces Borg right there. Those was the Halo Borg. That was Borg Master Chief and, Borg Call of Duty guys.
But I do find that was very strange because you didn't see that they changed a lot. Although what maybe was recognizable for people was that their guns had those laser thingies, like the Borg, like Kurini laser thingies.
Okay, so they would have us believe in this series of Picard, right, that Jurati / the Queen needed to have heavy metals in order to properly assimilate people, right? Now, the episode prior, she had went through and absorbed all of these batteries, lithium ions and all of that kind of stuff. All right. So my guess would be if she decided to start assimilating again, that it would be proper. Now, she goes and she touches this mercenary guy, right? And he glows. First of all, I ain't never seen, the glow. When it comes to somebody being assimilated, now you got the glow, no. And then there's no prosthetics. There's nothing. There's no implants that pop out. Do you remember in First Contact when Picard was having that dream and he was in the mirror and those implants start popping out his face, typical assimilation. None of that with the mercenary guys. None of that.
Yeah, and that was strange. It's not that how we know. And also, normally they were more heavy, changeable, as in like the Borg. And this was just, okay, I touch you, you will be green and lighting up and get those black thingies into the nanoprobes in your body, and that's it.
You know what the perfect example of how those mercenaries should have looked? Do you remember Lieutenant Hawk from First Contact?
Yeah.
Okay, that should have been what the mercenaries are prior to having full Borg implants in. They should have behaved and looked just like Lieutenant Hawk did, or the guy that Picard shot, to save him from being assimilated. That didn't happen with these mercenary guys. They didn't even behave, or no collective, none of that.
Well, of course, we do know that in this time period, there wasn't more or less a collective. So the Borg Queen still have to get everything started in a way. But I don't know if they did this because of what they did in Discovery with Control, with Leland.
See, Control. Oh my God, you're getting me started on Discovery. Another one of my problem kids. The way that they depicted AI all throughout Discovery to me was counter the progression that AI was making in, say, the Next Generation. All right, the leaps and bounds that from Data getting his rights, from the Doctor and Voyager getting his rights, being recognized as individuals, and all of that. Their pursuit of being better and more than just their parts, as we say. The AI in Discovery seems to have taken leaps and bounds backwards, and the AI program, was that program would have never have gotten out of control like that. Especially after the events of the M5 computer, they would have never let AI, the programming AI, get that. I think the M5 computer though was after Discovery. I think it might have been after Discovery. But those two things, one should have never had the other one happen, and one should have never had the other one happen. We'll put it that way. What do you think of Control? The introduction of Control.
Well, if I see those two together now, and Control is a lot later than 24th century, so it's kind of weird to see the Borg and Control more evolved than what they are in TNG.
Well, where was Control in TNG? Because I don't remember him in TNG.
No.
Exactly. We had normal computers. You know what I mean? Normal computers in TNG did things like develop consciousness and create new life forms, like the Enterprise computer did. Venture off into and learn new things. In Discovery, they make a AI program that's bent on taking over the galaxy. In Picard, they make AI that's bent on destroying Mars, Utopia, Planitia, and taking over the galaxy. So the steps backward that they're taking as far as AI in the new Trek is.
Talking about a little bit more about the Borg also, we saw that Jodie / the Borg Queen went to the Borg Queen's corpse, and she put her hand on that suit what the Borg Queen was wearing, and then she changed the whole bodysuit in the Borg Queen. What do you think about that?
Okay, right. Let's say, for instance, that the Borg's Queen's suit was made out of nanites. Let's just say that. let's go on a stretch and say that, right? First of all, why didn't the Borg Queen's body self-destruct like every other Borg is supposed to do when it's disconnected from the consciousness, right? And let's just say, for instance, the Queen is different. She doesn't self-destruct. Her consciousness doesn't go back to the collect, whatever. When have you ever seen a Borg drone go over to another Borg or anything like that and absorb his suit off of him? There has never been.
Is that only maybe because she is the Borg Queen?
Then how would you explain that whole scene in again, First Contact, where the Borg Queen is lowering the upper half of her body into the suit, right? She would have just, came out and just absorbed the suit from her last body, instead of having to lower her torso with her spine dangling inside of a new suit, new whole exosuit. Like, oh, Jesus Christ. Messing with my people around. I don't know why they do it. They keep messing with me. I don't know why. Mm-hmm.
So we also saw at the end that Jurati was backing the Queen, and also Ruffy was backing the Queen to save Seven. And and that was one of the weird things what I thought when she got those nanites again into Seven, and Seven became Seven again with the implants. That whole thing was a little weird.
I know you're trying to get me to rant already. I know you're trying to get me to do it. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Okay, all right. It's gonna work a little bit. Listen, right? So you mean to tell me that all of a sudden the Borg Queen has the nanites to properly assimilate somebody? Forget all the people that all the Special Forces Borg that they didn't work on. Right?
Yeah, that was a weird thing.
Right? So not only that, but Seven has an entirely new wound, which, if I remember correctly, is in her stomach, right? Okay.
Yeah.
What is the point? What is the odds of Seven developing the exact same nanostructure, exos things that she had when she was first assimilated? That makes no sense to me. Like the Borg nanites remember, oh man, this is Seven. Let me put her back the way she was. Like, I could see something around the midsection, maybe some type of torso type, new thing Seven has, but although 6 9 is back to being 6 9 again, I can't fault that, but no, the way she did it now, that's unacceptable.
Well, who knows? Maybe she has something on her stomach now, only we couldn't see that.
They should have showed it, especially when she stood up and was like, had that hole in her shirt. She should have, seen some nanites or some green Borg light. They could do it for the the assault rifles, right? The assault rifles that fire bullets, right? The Borg nanites jumped on. Let's just say the Borg nanites jumped on that rifle, right, and was like, hey, we're gonna assimilate this. It did everything the regular weaponry that it still fired bullets and all that kind of stuff, except the only thing that changed was what you were saying, the red laser light to a green laser light. First of all, I have no idea why that, would make a difference. I guess the only thing is they never ran out of ammo. The nanites kept making bullets because I've never seen none of them reload. I don't remember any of that. So, and then they attack people with knives. I don't know any Borg that decide to attack you with a knife.
Yeah, that was also weird.
And no karate, doing the kicks and flips and all that stuff. I'm like, oh snap, Borg is awesome. They wasn't doing none of that when they was fighting Data and everybody else and all throughout canon and everything. There was never, none of them pulled out a bat'leth and started going toe to toe with Worf. That never happened. So, what do you think of the Borg Queen's new tentacle things that she has? Those little new tentacles.
the first time I saw that was I was thinking, okay, oh, something new, But when she was floored down by Elnor and Seven, and I was thinking it must be a queen's weapon, and there is no other Borg we have ever seen have those tentacles. So
Not even the queen.
no, not even a queen.
Oh, I was thinking those tentacles would have been very useful right before Data was about to knock out that solvent thing. It'd have been real nice for she must have forgot. She must have forgot she had that ability, to knock Data away from, the engine before he broke the glass and made all of the stuff come in, mess them all up. She must have forgot she had that ability. That's what it was already. Oh, yes.
How do you think about the way they bring Elnor back for a little bit? And of course, he has the same transmitter as the Hollow Doctor.
One of my female friends think Elnor is just the sexiest Romulan that's ever been put to screen. She just the sex. And now, when he came back, and it seemed like he had a little bit more maturity, or they did his makeup just slightly better, or something like that. Oh, right up her alley. That she stopped what she was doing, said this, "Is that my man Elnor?"
Well, I must say it was what you said. He is more mature and has, of course, all the experience and all the memory of Elnor, and that's what was beautiful as well. That he told Raffi what Elnor was feeling for Raffi, and that was just love, embrace, and like a motherly figure.
You know what? I appreciated that part of it too, because it would have been so messed up, especially to Ralphie, if she had let all of that, if she had explained all her feelings to him, and he was just an automaton, just an image of of Elnor. I think that I like the way that they incorporated the memory, because they didn't really have to, based on what the purpose Elnor was serving. They didn't have to put those memories in him, but they did, and I thought
that was Jurati.
Yeah, I thought that was a really nice touch that she did. I thought that was nice. That was the shiny part in one of two of the shiny parts in the episode. Is it?
I must say, Jurati kicked ass this episode again. How she interact with the, and I must say, how more she does like things like this, how more I'm gonna like her. Because when she said, "Well, you haven't think about that, and I'm smart," and I was thinking, "You go, Jurati."
All right, so here we go. Now we finished. See, okay. So check this out, right? I would agree with you. The strong female character. I swear I would. But it was just one part of this episode that just made all of that go away. Right after right after 7 of 9 and Ralphie had just beat up that Borg, and 7 of 9 had the damaged arm, and Ralphie had a knife. They left out that cabin and ran across a field of Borg Special Forces guys with automatic weapons shooting at them. Not like, it's like not tall grass, no cornfield. No, no. They could see you. They see you, right? And you got past all 472 of them without nobody getting shot, and still made it over there. Then I had to say, nope, I'm not suspending disbelief that much on this one. Nope, I'm not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. Nope.
So we also see a little bit more between Raffi and 7. And we have talked about this before, and also a lot of Trek fans who really said, oh, it would be cool if they are together. But I think they're holding it back because of one of the other reasons. But I do think they have a lot of, I don't want to say intimate, but you know what I mean. It's just, they're hinting
Mhm.
a lot in this episode.
So again, as a guy, just strictly speaking, as a guy, that would be awesome. As a guy, right? Right. But as a Trekkie, it reminds me of this. A long time ago, a friend of mine gave me this book, right? It was like this, like illustrated, like novel thing, right? And it was a Star Trek book. It wasn't canon or anything like that. It was one of these family, right? I got about 3/4 of the way through this book before I asked this question to myself. Hey, what's this weird relationship that Kirk and Spock is having in this book, right? Now, I got about 80%, 90% of the way through this book and realized that Kirk, Captain James Tiberius Kirk, and Commander's first name unpronounceable by human tongue, Spock, was in a relationship with each other. Now, there's nothing in actual canon that would explain either of those two actions, right? So in which case, I closed the book and I set it down, right? Because I can no longer believe in the story. All right. Okay. 7, again, never in canon. When she had the list of going through suitable mates on Voyager, none of them was what was her name? What's her name was mom? Not Lieutenant Astor, she was in Next Generation. But look, Naomi Wildman's mom, right? She was never on that list. B'Elanna Torres was never on that list. the twins that Paris and them was always after, Paris and yeah, they was never on that list. You know what I mean? So,
but that's except for Ralphie.
Well, Ralphie was married, had a son, remember in season 1, you know? And even in season 1, Ralphie showed a friendship to Seven, but not a attraction to Seven. Yeah. Is it possible? Sure. You know, especially in a free society like Starfleet and everything in the Federation. But it's just never been stated that way. Like, again, Dax, Jadzia Dax, she could go out with a female, a male captain with a transparent skull that you can see his brain and nobody have a problem with.
Yeah. Well, there was another question I formed in when I was watching the episode. If the Borg Queen knows now what of the Borgsley about what's happening to the future 400 years, what will that changing the timeline? And because she has that knowledge now, and although she said because of Jurati, we are changing now, and we don't know what we are now, but you will not have a Borg Slayer because we don't want that war with you. We're not going to assimilate in that way. So, what are your thoughts about that?
Okay, having a nice Borg, that's not unheard of because, of course, you have the cooperative from Voyager. All right. They swore they wasn't going to go out and doing all that crazy stuff that the collective was doing, but they never expanded on the cooperative. You know, fine. If so, I could see a new branch of the collective doing this. All right, cool, fine. But if they decide to do this 400 years in the past and make this queen take over the actual queen of the actual Borg of the collective, right? 400 years in the past, which is what, 200 years before the events of Best of Both Worlds or Q-Who, for instance, all right? Which means none of that. So Cutis, Best of Both Worlds, you know, Commander Shelby, the Defiant, all of these things cease to exist.
Mm.
So hopefully, hopefully the writers understand that that this new queen will have to come forward in time to do that. You know, she have to take over the collective from, you know, the future where I guess the collective is, you know, all messed up.
But that would change the whole Borg future.
Yes.
And they messed it up in that way.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people will say that because we as Trekkie know that the history of it. So what they made in TNG, Voyager, etc., that's totally different than they are going to. So they need to rewrite the history of it. Because we have a Master Queen.
See, the issue that the new Trek made with the Borg, right? And this is kind of unfortunate. They made the Borg able to at will have the ability to time travel. All right. So if you think about it, what does a future Borg look like? He looks like one from the from Voyager. All right. When the Doctor's mobile emitter got assimilated. All right. If the Borg are at will capable of time travel, all right, why they keep going to the past, messing around with past stuff? Go to the future, get some of your own technology, come back, or the future Borg, time travel back to the hub that's over in the Delta Quadrant and drop off some, hey, these new updated nanites. But they don't do that. They have the Borg just be like, okay, well, we could time travel at will. It's not by accident. It's not, you know, we could time travel at will, but we're going to keep trying to go to first contact era of Earth. Really, we don't need to do that. If we want to assimilate Earth, we can do that anytime we want to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's the if you see, because I think that's what I see. Control and the Borg are like the same-ish thing. So, but because Control is on Discovery, Control is a lot advanced and than the Borg from TNG, etc. And you see that they bring that technique now in Picard. So it's super weird and strange that they have advanced an advanced Borg than in like TNG.
You know what? Okay, see, he got me on the problem kid again. So this is what they want you to believe when it comes to Control. All right. So Discovery was getting his butt kicked by Control that was looking for Zora. Is that about right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Discovery jumped out of time 1,000 years into the future, right? Okay. The show Discovery takes place before the original series, before the Next Generation, all of that. Oh, okay. Who destroyed Control then?
Big question still.
Exactly. Because Control was out of control during season 1 of Discovery. So much so that they had to jump 1,000 years into the Starfleet couldn't even help them.
Yeah.
Right. So if these events took place before canonical Star Trek, right? And Discovery left, what happened to Control? Who Control? What stopped Control from, say, being something prevalent in Kirk's days or Picard's days or any of that time? You know, so this is some of the issues that I'll be having when I be trying to explain canon with classic Trek and with new Trek. Things like that.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask you, right? Elnor, what did you think of his fight with the Queen?
I think it's a good fight. If I see, because I am from a martial arts family, so but what I really loved about that scene was that the Borg was looking at him for him, and he was in the armory and was, oh, nice gun, and then at the third locker he said, ooh, my sword. And I was thinking, yes, you
Yep,
know,
they
and
put a Pulp Fiction moment. I got you. Mhm. Do you remember that
and
scene in the Pulp Fiction when he was inside the pawn shop and he was getting ready to leave? And at first he picked up like a hammer, then he put that back,
mhm,
nah, it's not a hammer. Then he picked up like a bat. He was like, nah, it's not that. He picked up like this little chainsaw. And then the last thing he picked up was this samurai sword. He was like, ah,
mhm.
yes. I call that part right there with Eleanor, my Pulp
Yeah,
Fiction.
yeah, I had that too. Yeah. That was more of, but because he was a hologram and had Eleanor's recollection, um, when he saw that sword, it was, ooh, my sword, yes. And um, I must say, it's nice to see that Eleanor is growing up, and that yeah, like we see that um, Seven and Ruffy are like more like his substitute mothers in a way.
Mhm.
And we could see that in the first season, but also in the second season, is that Ruffy and Seven really see him as their son. Ruffy because she lost her biological son in a way, and Seven, of course, she lost Egypt.
Mhm. Yep.
And
Oh my God. So Ichab, wasn't Ichab half Borg? Wasn't Ichab? Okay. Wasn't Ichab in Starfleet?
yes,
Right. But they didn't accept Seven, who had way more experience, way
well,
more knowledge.
that is so weird. Yeah.
Do you know I actually turned the episode off when
Yeah.
she said that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And she's in
literally
this episode,
stopped the episode right there.
and that's
And
what
had about
what I wanted to talk about. Seven told Ruffy told Seven, yeah, why did you talk like a captain? Why didn't you join Starfleet? And Seven told her, well, I wanted to, but they didn't accept me because I am half Borg.
so on a word with the clout that Admiral Janeway had from coming back off of that historic mission that she was on to be able to put people in almost every place that she wanted them to go. You mean to tell me, not even with the word, because I know Janeway vouched for her. Matter of fact, not only did Janeway vouch for her, I'm pretty sure Janeway fought for her to get into Starfleet. All kind of
That's
letters
what
of recommendation.
that was
And
what Seven said too.
and Starfleet didn't. I literally turned it off and had about a 5-minute pace back and forth rant out loud. It wasn't nobody around me, and it was like I was talking to 3 different people. I can't believe this. I don't believe this right here. This is some BS. For real.
Yeah. So
Like that.
in this episode, Jean-Luc also had a lot of flashbacks of his youth. And we see him confronting his past, what he always pushed away. What do you think the fact what they did, showing Jean-Luc now very vulnerable and um, going through this?
I have mixed feelings on this. Okay, just a few mixed feelings. I'll try to be brief. First, let's just call this episode full of inappropriate flashbacks. All right, inappropriate. And when I say inappropriate, you in mid chase and you got time for a flashback. No, man, we ain't got time for a flashback mid chase. You so much in the flashback, you don't know that the Borg is standing up there on the balcony with a gun laser light on your head for 17 minutes. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You literally say, "Oh, I hear them coming," and go into another flashback. The little boy that plays Little Picard. If I could talk about him for a second,
Mm-hmm.
that is the most annoying little kid I have ever seen in my life. Every time I see him and he say, "Mama," I want to trip him every time. Every time. Every time he do that, every time he say, "Mom," I want to trip him. The way I don't like the way he looked. I don't like none of the clothes he had on. I ain't like his hairstyle. I didn't like his voice. I ain't like his shoes. His sock. I didn't even like his socks. I paused it to see what socks he had because I was like, it's got to be something redeeming about this dude. I didn't like his socks. I didn't like nothing about him. Nothing. Not nothing. As far as the story, I like the story, but to me, I was trying to figure out what it explained about classic Picard. What about Picard's personality in the past? Like, for instance, how did that translate to him never playing cards or poker with the crew? How did that translate to the crew being surprised that he would come and sing Nate? That storyline that I could contribute that storyline to in past canon with Picard is Ironic syndrome. Is that something his mom had? Is that something she passed on to him? You know, that disorder. Now we don't really know what the effects of Ironic syndrome. Speaking of Ironic syndrome, where's Crusher?
Well, if I'm correct, she will be back in season 3. Sorry, spoiler.
So let me get this straight. So do you remember the episode All Good Things? You know, we know that Crusher and Picard was married. We know she took care of him. But they got we know this, right? Right. And it was before he's the age he is now. We know these events took place before the age he is now. Now, I know some people would be like, hey man, but Data was in that episode all old, but he ain't in that. So obviously time is different. I don't care what time period it is. I have this feeling that Picard and Crusher will always inevitably meet. Okay. And if not meet, at least still be the bestest of homies ever. All right. Besides the Queen, Crusher is the only other person who knows Picard as intimately as the Queen, because remember, she was connected to him with that thingy, you know? So you don't even see her come, didn't even see her come visit, didn't make no phone calls, he didn't mention her, you know, none of that. But I didn't think that the death of his mom, you know, committing suicide, or the conversation with his dad, or how that played out, how he tried to hide that. I don't know if they're going to try to maybe do something with that in this last episode, but to me, I didn't think that 1 through 9, you know, the way they built it up was a justification from what we found as to Picard as a person from the TNG. What about you? What you think?
I did like the storyline and letting us fans more know about Picard's life, and also the fact, and I am going to say that as a counselor.
As a counselor, you know, it's a counselor. You know, it's a. You know.
What you understand where Picard is coming from in TNG. Why also, and that's the weird thing. There is never been spoken of his brother in this episode.
Like he don't exist. Nothing. Like nothing. You ain't him in the background. Yeah. No little wrestling matches, no fights, nothing. Not nothing. Mom didn't say nothing about him. You know, dad didn't be like, you're all there, go in your room. Picard, come, none of that. Nothing. Nothing.
That was the weird thing, because the whole storyline was only focused on Picard. And you would think, okay, if Picard is around, his brother will all be around. So where is he?
Can you imagine somebody who's a new Trekkie, right? And say, for instance, they start watching Picard first. This was their first foray into Star Trek, right? And they got to this episode and they finished up this whole season. And then they say watched the episode right after Best of Both Worlds, where Picard goes home and he meets older brother and his nephew,
Mm,
you know, that person would say, he don't have no big brother and no nephew, right? And that person would leave a comment on one of our pages that Picard
mm,
doesn't have a family. You know what I mean? So these writers be messing with us. They be messing with us,
yeah.
Brenda.
But
You know what
are
I mean?
they also doing that because they are, and I was thinking about that later on, I will talk about that in a minute. Maybe they do that because Q, and that's also where the heck is Q?
He in the back of every Picard poster. Q just back there looking hardest, just back there looking hard. Just never see him.
Yeah, and that's the weird thing. But what I was saying, what I wanted to say.
Oh, you got it. You got it.
Oh, I forgot now.
You would say because you said the weird thing is where's Q?
Yeah, but I didn't want to talk about Q. I wanted to talk about Picard. I can't remember. Help.
Well, you was talking about that his brother was never around. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then if you had a thought that was really good right after that one, it got messed up for the fact that Q was not in the show. That's yeah.
Yeah, but that was something else I wanted to say. But okay, there was another thing. They want to change back or the timeline. They want to restore the timeline. But isn't it now the fact that the Borg Queen knows what will happen in 400 years, and even Jurati has shown her the history of the last battle of the Borg. Isn't that also changing the whole history and the whole timeline?
If you want to look at it that way, and I agree with you, the history was they messed up the history once Girardi started killing bar patrons or stealing car batteries, or they started beaming out of cars in the middle of the daylight, or the FBI had a whole big old rap sheet, or Rios hadn't given a whole sworn statement about him being from the future, or them leaving communicators, or the Borg Queen literally assimilating her own small army, you know, out there, you know, or them coming from the sun to the atmosphere, landing on the planet and having not once used their cloaking device, you know. Oh yeah, my personal favorite, escaping a bus and letting go a whole bus full of prisoners, right? So the timeline is, I don't know what they're gonna come back to. And like, I have no idea how they're gonna come back to something that they recognize. I have no idea how they're gonna do that. Guinan place got shut down and raided by the FBI, you know, so I don't know.
And one other mistake. Rios has brought the doctor and her son to the Serena.
A 6-year-old boy.
Yeah, but it's against in the timeline. I mean, in the Prime Directive, they are not even going interstellar space travel, and he's showing them that boy will have nightmares.
You know what? That boy, there is absolutely no way in the world that boy would be able to keep none of that secret. And then if he's not, he done just regulated that boy to a whole life of people thinking he crazy is all outdoors.
Yeah.
He done messed up that boy life. Just like the FBI agent who went through basically the same thing with the Vulcans. Like
Vulcans, yeah.
And now he want to kiss all up on the doctor lady who's in the past. Are you serious? I mean, she is fine though. She is fine. I might have made
yeah.
She is fine. She is fine. But come on. Okay, speaking of the doctor lady, how did you like the ease at which she learned how to use the medical tricorder on Rios's gun wound?
That is super idiotic weird. How?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think it is going out of her head because she never ever seen those things.
Not never. She said, "Oh, it's ER, a whole entire ER in the case." And now since it's the ER in the case, and I'm a doctor, obviously I know how to use this. I hate Star Trek writers nowadays. Do you remember in Deep Space Nine? I believe one of Bashir's nurses, a Bajoran, was using like this skin regenerator thing wrong. And the doctor was like, "Oh no, try it this way," and like that. She's from the time period, works in the medical bay, and she had to get, "Oh yeah, this is how you actually use it." But this 400,
that is so weird. And I was thinking that different, huh? How can you do that?
Rios then Jerry rigged the Watcher's technology. I have no idea how he understands the Watcher technology. It was O'Brien, maybe a Starfleet engineer. Sure, I could totally see how a Starfleet engineer would have been able to do that. Rios, I don't remember Rios being able to, he's a smooth dude, but I don't remember him being that smooth. He ain't that smooth.
But also that when Tallinn was beaming them to safety, we never have seen that room. So where is that?
So I don't know if they had a scene cut in earlier season 2, but that safe, that door safe, that vault, that's actually a Watcher transporter room. Okay.
Yeah.
From the original series, that's how it looks. Okay. But it's kind of cool that they were included. But I didn't remember Gary having something cool that, it seemed like Gary just thought about it and they kind of went where they went. But, it's kind of nice that she has a device, but I still don't see her as being Watcher supervisor level at all.
Yeah.
I hold her up to 7 and I just be like, nope, no comparison. I can't believe it. Nope.
Well, I must say, when 7 became Annika, she was a more softer, more human-like person than Ishia 7.
Because that's what she used to.
Yeah.
That's what she used to. That's what everybody else used to too. It was kind she was looking nice, being, human, being Annika. But when she turned back to 6 of 9, yes.
Did you notice, by the way, when we had that scene with Picard, the mother, and his father in the room, and the father and mom were talking about his mother, and he was playing. Did you see that he already was playing with a little Enterprise model?
Yep.
I was thinking, oh my God, he already knew that.
See, by the way, his big brother, he was off at winemaking school. That's why we never seen him at this time, because he's off learning how to make the wine. That's what happened. Okay. But yeah, that was pretty cool how he was messing with the little Enterprise and ended up becoming a captain of the Enterprise.
Yeah.
Well,
I got always, yes.
I got to ask you one thing. And I have mixed feelings about this. This was the second diamond. When I try to think of it, I think of it as a diamond, right? But I'm gonna ask you. So, what do you think about the negotiation between Jurati and the Queen and the end result that happened?
I thought that was very interesting because, well, Janeway did it, but Janeway was not like Jurati, and Jurati was. That's why I always also said when she said, "Well, you can't use the transporter because I did this, and this, and I have my own bodyguard," and that was Elnor. And that conversation, in the beginning, I was thinking, all right, Jurati, now I'm going to start liking you. And when she negotiated with, and that's what I that was the great thing to see that, and that Jurati was figuring out if she shown emotion and certain way of things that she can put in the queen's body, that she can stop her and control her. So that whole conversation, I think that is well written because of this is the first time the queen actually listened. And we saw exactly the queen having emotions. We never seen having the queen emotions. So in one way it was very interesting. And I think also that maybe, and I have no idea what they're going to do in the next episodes and in season 3. But I think in one way it's nice to know that Jurati is messing it up. He's messing her up.
So this was my okay. So I had two thought processes on this, right? The first thought was as a Trekkie. I'll start there. As a Trekkie, I was like, man, get out of here that she negotiated with the queen, man. Janeway negotiated with the queen barely. Like the Borg was basically off on the end of being defeated, and they were still like, "Now we ain't finna negotiate with you, man. We're finna take you, your ship, and all that, and everything. We ain't got it." But she never even talked to the queen. She was just talking to the collective. That's, you know what I'm saying, like, and like it took life and death for the Borg for the Borg as a whole to talk to her. Not even the queen.
Mm-hmm.
That was the circumstances of the only negotiation in history, right? And then now Jurati gonna come up there with this, hey, I'm lonely. You've been assimilating people because you've been lonely, you know, all these millions and billions of people just because you've been lonely, not perfection, no. You've been lonely, you know? So when I thought about it as a Trekkie like that, right, I was irate. Look, what's the word? Flabbergasted, irate, perturbed, all those long, you know, college words that you want to use, those, right? But then I looked at it from a canon perspective. From a canon perspective, it has always, throughout all of Star Trek history, Starfleet and the Federation has always had one great thing that it has done. It has always been able to have a conflict, negotiate, and absorb all of their enemies, from the Klingons to the Romulans, you know? So, oh, hello? All right. So from the Klingons to the Romulans, you know, they have always been good at absorbing, you know, the Cardassians even, you know, they've been good at absorbing their enemies. So hell, even they've even been the only people who've ever defeated and reached a negotiation with the Dominion. You know what I mean? So to have it come to a point to whereas they've had their conflict with the Borg, okay, just like they've had their conflict with the Klingons, just like they have their conflict with the Romulans, you know, they've negotiated with the Borg, okay, which they've done, Janeway's done, you know, and now comes their you know, absorbing or becoming allies, the Borgs, that now enemy joining the Federation and becoming greater, you know. So that's how my canon side saying it, like, oh, okay, I can see how that fits into canon, you know. The role they'll be serving though, I don't like that role. I don't like the role the Borg could be serving. That's a bad role. And now who gonna be the bad guy? 8472? We already negotiated with them.
Talk about Romulans. Talon is a hell of a markswoman. Did you see how she shot at all those Borgs? Oh my God.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
Wasn't that also a Romulan gun?
I think that was a Watcher weapon, and I think that by the way that by the way that it looked as she aimed it, and as the energy blast came out, it looked like it had some kind of lock-on feature.
You know. Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Either way, she was badass. She was doing her thing.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, all the women in there was doing their thing. Except for
I think this is. Yeah, and this is also when we come back to the first season, when all those Romulans invaded Picard's Chateau Picard, and you saw her right away reacting, and I mean Laris in this case, but she's badass.
Yeah, she is. Yes, she is. Laris, Talon. I still wonder if Laris. I know it's gonna sound weird and far-fetched, but I still wonder if Laris, because we know Watchers are also time travelers. I wonder if Laris met up with kind of like a Guinan type of thing. She met up with Picard at his chateau and started working for him because she had known him those years ago after working on Earth. I wonder if, and I'll be putting these speculations in there thinking that, they'll do something cool, but they're going to have to wrap up all of the questions that they had, plus everything that's going on with Q in one more episode. Like, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it.
You have to wait to see.
Unfortunately. Well, both fortunately and unfortunately, because it's still one of my problem kids over there. Still one of my problem kids.
Yeah, I know what you mean. There is something else. We've seen, of course, Soon has a very big role in this episode as well. There's one thing it reminds me of how he talked and how he is acting in this episode. I was seeing Lore. Don't you?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he had that. He reminded me of like the Lore in the episode Descent. He had kind of like that era about him. Menacing, but still, like that smug menacing. Yeah. Bruce Spiner plays the smug period well. He plays smug, no matter what, smug scientist, smug geneticist, smug dad.
And how many Soons will he still be playing?
Oh, we even played about 872 of them, right? He played about 872 Soons, about four androids. What, B4 prototype data Lore? I mean, this dude just.
What do you think about the deal he proposed to Picard? Of okay, let's stop this and.
First of all, that would have been a perfect time for Picard to hit Soon with one of those brilliant, outstanding, what we know of Picard's speeches to be. But we didn't have time for that because I was too busy trying to figure out how to trip that little young Picard every time I seen him. That's we had time for that though, but none of the brilliant Picard speeches, none of that. No.
When they are in the rooms of Chateau Picard, I'm still wondering how big is that, because if you have, and if they are, this is the family chateau, what does his father add on, or what is exactly his father's occupation? Because would he be like a mad scientist as well, or because he's also of course his mother had an illness and etc. Although I must say you could see two different if you see the house itself is very bright, etc., and if you going downstairs, it's a complete different world.
Hmm. It's like it's almost like a metaphor of heaven and hell, almost. You know,
Yeah.
and I still don't understand what Picard throwing the rock at the Sun House was for. I don't understand what that is. I still don't understand the breaking of that glass pane. I still can't figure out why that's in the opening of the theme. I can't figure out, why he did it at the end of this episode. What was so significant about that? That
I think that is the symbolic future of if he throws that rock through the glass and it shattered, it's resembled his pain because of his mother's. She hanged herself there. So, and it's also maybe like a breaking free of what happened. And he always thought that his father was the bad boogeyman, but it was his mom who has those mental issues.
the potentially aromatic syndrome. I got you.
So I think it's more like a symbolic thing that they will show you. Okay, the angriness and the frustration of Jean-Luc as a child, but also maybe the anger in, okay, my mom is dead, what do I have to do now? And it must be very hard that Jean-Luc, who stayed in that way alone in the house as an only kid, to and something else like that. You see, his mother was very artistic like, and we saw Jean-Luc painting, etc. But we never seen that good as in TNG.
As far as painting, the only time I think I remember seeing him painting was when he was on the holodeck in that class, and I don't think he was doing too good.
Exactly, and we see that young Jean-Luc could be better painting than he has in that class.
You see, that's why he was terrible at it. See, he forgot that he knew that he used to do it because he had forgot the whole scenario of his childhood because his mom had hung herself. And yeah, see, one of the most when this is the point where the episode went from frustrating me to whereas I just started laughing because I had no choice. All right, he was talking about Brent Spiner. He's standing inside this the circular area, right? The file room or whatever, right? He's standing there. It's Talon and Picard, and it's two special forces Borg, and Data. Data picks up the phaser, right? It starts to overload. Now, we talked about this during the City on the Edge of Forever. We've only seen up until that point 2 types of phasers blowing up. When the phaser blow up, it blows up, all right? Or it just disintegrates you with that one time in that one episode, right? So Brent Spiner proceeds to throw this phaser, which is overloading, into the air, right? It didn't even go all the way up to the ceiling. It didn't even almost go up to the ceiling. It didn't clear nobody. It was like basically in the middle of them. And this thing loaded, like it and nobody in that circle was damaged. Nobody was hurt. Nobody had no shrapnel. Nobody was hard of hearing. Nothing. Right there, I just chuckled. I chuckled like, oh, that did it right there. I forgot I was watching Star Trek at that point. I just started laughing. Yeah, between that and the Borgified ship. Oh, come on now, Borgified. You gotta love that one. Imagine Data saying that one. The ship is Borgified, Captain. But they got one more episode. I'm hoping that they could do it.
If we are going a little bit talking about the ending of this episode, I think they have a big problem also because we see that the Borg Queen is taking Lacerina into the future, into the Delta Quadrant. And so they are stranded in the 24th century. And there's nowhere to go or whatever. And what will go with the European mission of Rene Picard? And Jurati had given them a riddle, and I find myself thinking the whole last scene with Jurati and Ruffy and Seven. Jurati was talking in riddles. And I was thinking, okay, what the heck is going on here? And why is she saying one Rene has to live, one Rene has to die? What's that all about? And
go ahead.
Yeah, like I said, they have, I think, that big problem, or they have to have a big announcement and a big thing to go in season 3. Who knows? But if they are getting it and leaving it at here, that they are stranded in the 24th century, what the hell? And what the hell is happening to Q?
You know, in one episode, they not only have to wrap up that, right? But this is, so she goes, so the Borg Jurati Queen, Jurati Queen, she goes over to the Delta Quadrant, right? And she rose up on her first Borg cube. All right. They try to assimilate her, find out that she is a queen. However, they have a queen. All right. Now, this queen is going to be trying to explain to the collective, the entire collective, that, hey, we shouldn't be doing this no more. I'm the queen and I'm going to take over. Now, understand that the Borg would know that Jurati is blended with this queen. This isn't perfect. What you're talking about isn't perfect. It's not something that's perfection. So that means you're going to have Jurati Queen's consciousness trying to battle for the control of the collective against a queen backed by the entire consciousness of the collective. How is she going to do this? You know what I mean? Like, how is she going to be able to convince a fully strong collective, which is what they are 400 years in the past, to be subservient to her when they already see you as imperfect? You know what I'm saying? So not only that, okay, the two Renees. All right. Well, if we're dealing with time, all right, do that mean a Renee from different time periods? You know, one Renee goes to Europa, one Renee has to die in another time period or something like that for everything to line back up. I don't know. Is Q has something to do with Renee? Please tell me. Please don't tell me. Please don't tell me that Renee is some kind of undercover Q or something like that. And if she ends up dying, the actual Q that we know was never born or something crazy like that. And that's why he always had this connection with Picard. I will stab everybody in the head. I sure will. I will stop the show and I will go all the way to the Paramount Studios. And I'll threaten bodily damage upon everybody. Yes.
I don't mind me just now that jeez, now I'm forgetting it again.
I know. This is why I was like, when you said I thought this episode was good.
I know. Do you remember the first episode of season 2 when the Borg Queen get in contact with on the Stargazer, and that she came on, and she actually only asked of Picard to speak? I think, and I have said this before, that Borg Queen is also Jurati. So what she has become in this episode. And the only thing what was really weird is, and what is still weird, we don't know what's happening. And if this is so, that first episode, we see, okay, that is the outcome of this episode of, okay, the Borg Queen is going to the Delta Quadrant, have her own collective again, but comebacks, and it's a nice Borg type in that way.
If I know I agree with you. It's probably going to be Girardi Queen, but
yeah,
when that happens to be the case, the only question I'm going to have is, why the heck didn't Girardi Queen just open up a normal transmission? Hey, I'm Girardi Queen. Y'all ain't gonna believe this. Y'all gotta listen to this story.
I think because in how we of Starfleet and mankind have dealt with the Borg, that they are super suspicious.
That's what I'm saying. She should have been like, "Hey, I'm Girardi. Look, y'all, this is a time travel story." Crazy.
They won't. What's the word? They don't trust her.
So you beam over to the ship, put your hentai tentacles and everything, and start disruptor blasting, stunning everybody. No, that ain't gonna gain too much trust either. We see how that worked out.
You understand what I mean with, okay, if you say I'm Girardi and there has to be proof, etc. So I think that's why they made that episode as that.
But see, the proof is easy. Don't beam over there with your helmet on. Take your helmet off. They could be like,
yeah, but at that point they didn't know that because they didn't have that future.
Right, yeah, exactly.
They didn't back to.
Yeah. If she had did that, I guess the future would have been changed to whereas none of that would have happened. I guess so. But it still would have been easier for her to just come over there. Look at my face.
But that would be also a problem because the Girardi was also still on the Stargazer, so you would have two Giradis.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Just look at Girardi. Look at my face. I know everything about you, man. Come on, look. Remember we used 12. She look, but I understand, that paradox thing that you're happy as a result of that. But I'm really interested to see how they close this out. I'm really interested to see how they pull all this together. They opened up a whole lot in this. They don't have to explain this very well. This episode is probably what they're gonna use their good writers for.
Yeah. I think we spoke a lot about this episode. Is there something else you would like to add?
Oh, just as I have fun with you as always. Love talking Star Trek with you.
Here the same. So tell us, where can we find Trek Canon?
Oh, well, you can find, I'm simple. I don't have as many places as you do. I'm simple. I'm over at YouTube, Trek Canon. I think I might be on TikTok too at Trek Canon. I don't know, but I know for a fact I'm on YouTube at Trek Canon. So come visit us.
Yeah, and of course the Facebook group that you have of Trek Canon.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's true. On Facebook, I see it. I see it. Yeah, I got Trek Canon over there at Facebook. So come subscribe and everything, and drop likes. Please leave comments. I love talking about Star Trek, as you guys can tell. I answer all my comments. So yeah, come visit us.
Yes, guys, look him up on YouTube and watch his videos, because maybe you also have something to comment on it. And I watch it regularly, so I comment also when I can. Tommy, thank you very much for this lovely conversation about this episode. I think there will be more cooperation in the future.
Oh yeah, definitely. We will link
each other. We will link each other in each other's social media. Thank you again. It was nice talking to you.
As always, peace and recycle. Say the whales.
So, guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching this first episode, video episode of Orinda Talks, and of course in the Star Trek series. I don't know when the extra episode, another episode will be there, but there will be there. I make those episodes extra Star Trek series because my love, of course, for Star Trek. And well, if you like to talk with me or leave a comment on this episode, you can, or have something else to tell, give your opinion. You can do that on the YouTube channel of Orinda Talks or on the Facebook group of Orinda Talks. Of course, like Tommy also said, subscribe. You don't have to miss anything about that then. And I will see you next time. Live long and prosper.